Hello creative friends, welcome back to the Crazy Craft Obsession YouTube channel. I'm so glad to see you here. Today we're going to be focusing on the scrapbook tutorials that we're running for free using the Bookish collection from Echo Park. This is a new collection they just released, and there's a walkthrough and a stress swatch of this collection over on the YouTube channel, and I'll leave a link to it down below if you want to check it out. Now, last layout that we done focused on the 6x6 mega pad, which is like the normal 6x6 pad, only double the amount of papers, and you get some plain papers in there, as well as the cut aparts. I thought I would focus on this mega pad again, just because we get the comment a lot that the smaller paper pads are a little bit trickier to use because you don't get a full sheet of 12x12 paper. To counteract this, I thought I would show you a layout that I like to use time and time again using my scraps and small paper pads that can be used for any collection or any scrap collection or kit that you've made up. It's a tried and true layout that I simply adore. I'm selecting 5 or 6 papers from this mega pad. Today we're going to use the orange grid, the red heart paper, the multicolored heart, the green vines, the white heart on blue paper, and that checkered plaid. I do pull this little polka dot paper, but I think that it's too much and put it quickly back in, so don't worry about that one. What we're going to do with our papers is we're going to take our trusty trimmer. Today I'm using the Tim Holtz, what's this one called? I think it's called the Precision Trimmer. But I'm taking my pattern paper and I'm trimming it down to 3/4 of an inch by 6 inches. And I'm going to do that for 4 pieces of each paper. I've sped this up here, but if it's going too fast and you need to catch up, feel free to pause the video. I will say that some of the papers, when you tear them out of the paper pad, aren't a true 6 inch, so I'm just trimming them down. And also, a lot of the papers that we selected here have a vertical orientation, so make sure that you get that correct. Next, I'm taking my recoil scissors by Tim Holtz, but any scissors will do, and I'm just eyeballing a rough fishtail on either end. I'm not overly precise on this, but if you want to be more precise, you can get dies or punches that will do this for you. I'm going to fast forward the video here and not show you all of this because I do it for each strip, and it does get a little bit tedious. I like to do this in front of a YouTube video or watching the TV. Now that that's all done, I'm going to arrange these on a white piece of 80-pound American Crafts textured white cardstock, but any 12x12 white cardstock will do, or a pattern paper that you enjoy. I'm just putting them in their groups and orientating them correctly so they're easier to grab. I found that the easiest way to do it. And I'm going to mix and match my colors so that it's not following a certain pattern for this particular layout. But feel free in your own time with your stash to try different types of orders and different types of pattern papers using this technique. I've done layouts before where I've followed a set pattern with 3 different colors of paper, and it's turned out fabulous. So there really is no limit to this style of layout that you can do to make it unique in your own way. You can see here I'm doing the green, the rainbow love heart, the orange grid, the blue love heart, the red love heart, the plaid, the orange check, the green vine. Really, I'm just trying to get some random order of colors here that are pleasing to the eye. Originally, I thought I would do like a V shape on the layout, and this is me orientating it here, but I didn't really like that once I put it down on paper. So I decided to go with a little bit of like a wave on the layout instead. I think you'll find, depending on the amount of photos that you're using for this, different orientations of that particular pattern that your papers are flowing in will suit different amounts of photos. Today I'll be using 2 3x4 photos of my little man reading, I think it's called like a brain teaser book. It's one of the ones that you can buy to take on an airplane, and it's got Sudoku and Find a Word and all the others in it. And he's only probably about 15 months old and really took to this book. Of course, he couldn't read it, but he carried it everywhere. So that's the story that I'll be telling with this today. Now that I've got those strips orientated in the wave that I want, I am going to stick them down with my double-sided tape. I've been really careful here to roughly, everything with me is roughly, but roughly line them up so that the top of the fishtail, the very tips, is starting where the bottom of the fishtail dips down into my strip. That's just how I've eyeballed it, but you can use a ruler if you wish to get it exactly precise. Once I'm finished sticking them down, I'm going to come in with my glue and make sure that all of the little sticky uppy bits from the tips of the fishtails are stuck down as well. There's nothing more annoying, I've found, than trying to put a page in a page protector and there's stuff sticking up everywhere and it gets caught and damages your layout that you've worked so hard on. I've sped this video up 4 times just to show you how to stick them down and that I'm using double-sided tape, but liquid glue will work fine too. You can see there my final strip overhangs the page a little bit. That's because of the width and dimension that we used, and I'm just going to use my trimmer to trim it straight to the edge of the page. Because it's partially cut into, I'm going to flip my page around and cut 1/2 inch off the other side, making the green strip a partial strip too, and 1/2 inch off the bottom. This is so that I can add a 1/4 inch border of this beautiful yellow paper all the way around. This yellow paper is the 12 by 12 paper called the Best Bookstore. On the back is all of the different bookstores. I liked the yellow piece, so I'm going to use it today. I'm gutting it with my trimmer as well, just to give a inch piece of paper around each side to stick my page to. This means that I can come back and use that yellow piece of paper or the overside of it again on another layout. Just a smart way to save money and save paper in the long run. I obviously didn't trim it out precisely enough for it to come unstuck straight away, so I've just had to use my scissors to trim it a little bit there. And then I'm going to add some double-sided tape or liquid glue in a very thin layer around the edges of my page and stick it down. This is one of my favorite techniques to do with a page that's looking a little bit bare and a little bit dry, is adding a pattern paper border around it. To add a little bit more detail now, you know I can't resist it, I'm going to use my black pen once I'm finished sticking all these bits down to add some finer details to my layout. My favorite black pen that I like to use is the Micron Pigma pens. They come in a pack of 5 from Officeworks in Australia, and you get all different sizes. I've been using the same pack of these pens for about 3 years now, and I haven't had an issue at all with them drying up. They are fantastic. I'm going to carefully go around the edge of my white cardstock here with my black pen to add a shadowed outline. Of course, you could use distress ink before you stick it down to your paper if that is what you prefer alternatively. And I did toy with the idea of coming in and adding some strips to this, but we'll get to that in another layout for another technique. For today, I'm going to go around, and I have sped this up very quickly, and add some faux stitching to each of these strips in every second strip. I would like to say here that if you want to level up your layout, you can add some real stitching by punching some holes in and using some DMC thread in the matching colors of each strip. I've seen people do this and it looks amazing. I'm yet to try it, but maybe you'll see it on a layout soon. But if that's something you normally do, feel free to do it for this layout because it's going to look perfect. For now, I'm going to stick with my black pen because I think that adds just enough detail and contrast in that black color, especially because I've used black and white photos for this layout, which you'll see shortly. Now that that's all done, the black pen is going to go away and not come out again, so don't fret. We're going to bring in our photos right here. My photos originally were quite dull and multicolored, so they weren't the best quality photos, so I've turned them into black and white to tell more of a story about the photos than focusing on the photos themselves. I'm now bringing in the border strip from the cardstock sticker, and just due to the weather climate here in Australia, I'm going to add a little liquid glue to the back. I find sometimes stickers and ephemera lift over time, so I like to add a little bit of glue to them. I'm using my T-square ruler and X-Acto knife just to trim off the edge there so it matches the other side. I think that's a really great use of a border strip, and it adds a little bit of detail down the bottom, balancing out those pretty colours that we've got in our fishtail strips as well. I'm going to use this title here from the sticker sheet. It says Book Lover for my title for my layout, but you could use some gold alphas like we used previously, or make your own thickers, and both of those techniques are featured in the videos that we previously done for this tutorial series, and I'll leave a link to them down below. I've brought in this tiny word sticker. It is from the Frames and Tags set, and it says this was a real page turner. I thought that was really cute for a book that my son can't even read that has Sudoku in it. It's like a little laugh. I've also brought in that orange piece of ephemera up the top. It's from the Frames and Tags set as well, and it says reading is dreaming with your eyes open. I'm now going to map my photos on the leftover piece of the leftover piece of pattern paper that we used in layout number 1. This one here is the red paper from the 12x12 collection kit called Reading Error. You can see I'm just adding some double-sided tape to my photos that already matted in a thin layer of white, and I'm going to go around them in a thin layer of red. This is a great way to use up your scraps as well and add a little bit more detail to your photos to make them stand out, especially against so many colours like our fishtail strips that we've got in this layout. I personally am just using my 9-inch shears from Tim Holtz to mat these, but if you're a real precise person, you can use your trimmer as well. For some reason, when I go to use my trimmer, I get it less straight than if I was to use my scissors. How wild is that? Once that's finished being matted and trimmed out, I'm going to go ahead and stick them down and focus on sticking down all of my ephemera and embellishments. Because we haven't done any mixed media on this layout, I'm just going to stick them down with some wet glue. But if you're a mixed media person or you'd like to delve into mixed media slowly, never fear, I've got a few tutorials coming up with that too for this collection. I'm going to add a little bit of liquid glue to the back of these. That's the title that I've chosen from the cardstock sticker and that tiny words strip from the Frames and Tags. And just to top it off and fill up a bit of space down the bottom there, I'm going to add this other tiny word strip that says Lost in the Pages, and it's from the ephemera set. Now, I thought it would be cute to fill this gap over to the left, and to do this, I'm bringing in this bookstore sticker from the cardstock sticker that's quite large. I thought it fit quite well in that gap there, and I've tucked it underneath our border strip on the bottom, so it looks like almost like a seam. For the top bit up here, I'm going to take my mini guillotine trimmer, but any trimmer will do, and just trim the top of it so that it sits flush with our white cardstock without overlapping onto our yellow mat around our page. It's a top tip that I like to use all the time, is to keep everything within the parameters of your white cardstock. I like to call this technique a layout within a layout. And you can vary the width of your mat so that your white cardstock gets smaller and smaller, and it looks so unique each time and each width that you do it. I've missed a bit there. I stuck a sticker down. It's like a bookmark from the sticker sheet, and it says the best part. And then I'm going to bring in a tiny word sticker underneath that as well that says this is my favorite story from the sticker sheet. But I think that comes after this cardstock sticker flower. I wanted to add something around this orange strip to tie in some of the colours that we've used, and I thought this flower was perfect. I've stuck it down without overlapping any of the writing, and I'm just using my X-Acto knife and T-square ruler to cut it flush with the white cardstock that we used for our base page without overflowing onto our yellow matted piece of pattern paper. You can see it didn't quite cut correctly, and I didn't want to cut into the yellow piece of pattern paper, so I've just taken my X-Acto knife and trimmed off that little bit. I'm then going to use the piece that we cut off on the other side of that orange piece of ephemera, so you get a 2-for-1 double whammy out of that sticker. I feel like that's really frugal and a really good way of saving some of your stash. Now that we've done that, I think I add that tiny word sticker and then some tiny love hearts from the cardstock sticker as well, just for a small detail. The tiny hearts that I add is a yellow heart over with that bookstore. I stick them down just with a little bit of liquid glue. Then there's a green heart that goes with my title. And lastly, a pink heart that goes up in the cluster up above with that big orange ephemera piece. I think these tiny details really add a lot to the layout and draw the colors in. Now I've got some still photos. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd love to see what you create with this style layout, and I look forward to showing you the next tutorial. Thanks for your support, and I'll catch you later. Bye.